Gus Johnson is a popular comedy YouTuber who's recently been in some hot water due to a video released by his ex-girlfriend Sabrina talking about her ectopic pregnancy and his involvement in it. Here is what she says.
On this very day, a certain number of years ago, I was in the hospital dying. It was the worst experience of my entire life, and I was alone for most of it. I was constantly taking the steps to end the pregnancy, but it's really scary when somebody is forcing you to do it. And I did have moments of weakness where I would cry and say things like, okay, but honestly, like, can we just consider, like, what if we didn't do it? Still gonna do it, but can we just consider what would happen if I didn't? He would say, like, no, it's not even a question. You're gonna ruin my life if you do that. That would be the worst thing to ever happen to me. As along the lines of things that he would say. And at one point, he even said that he would break up with me if I didn't do it, and that he would resent me and the potential child. I was at work, and then all of a sudden, the weirdest painful sensation came over me again, but this time it made me really dizzy and faint, and my heart was just racing, and I had this pain in my lower abdomen. I just knew something was wrong, and so I left work early. I called my boyfriend and I told him something's wrong. I'm going to the hospital again. And he said, okay, well, I have work to do and it involves other people. And then we're gonna go out and get dinner and drinks with them. So I had to go to the hospital alone. And I was there for about 4 hours by myself. He comes right in time to get the diagnosis. I had an ectopic pregnancy in my left fallopian tube. It ruptured. I've been bleeding internally ever since. They were surprised I wasn't dead, and that if I don't have surgery right then and there, I was going to die for sure. And as an added bonus, the surgery might not go well, and I might die during that too. This thing has changed my life so much. Because after that, not only do you have like the natural like postpartum of not being pregnant anymore, my hormones after that rupture were just all over the place. I would just have lots of random moments of just being thrown into that feeling of what it felt to be just dying all over again at random. I had no control over it. And the only person I could really lean on was my boyfriend because I couldn't tell anybody. And I don't fully blame him because that is a lot of responsibility to put on a single person. But he started to get real sick of me. I was trying to put myself through therapy. I would try to take myself to the doctor whenever, stuff would spike, and it was just the worst. And boyfriend started to resent me. And so I tried bottling it up even more and not telling him until I was absolutely certain that I needed to go to the doctor and I would not be able to drive myself. Like, he was talking about how hard it was having to take care of me when I would have those moments. Mind you, I never stopped him from doing anything or going anywhere. He still continued to live his life as if nothing ever happened. And there I am in the background, in the shadows, just trying to pretend that I don't feel like I'm dying. And then he would, sometimes tell me things like, someone else would have left you by now, right? And then it would get to the point where I would ask for help, take me to, urgent care, please, I can't drive myself. And he would say like, oh, well, call the advice nurse and then I'll take you. And then he would insist on listening to the phone call to make sure that I wasn't exaggerating my symptoms. Or even when he would come with me the few times to the doctor, he would, sit in and, correct the doctor on things that I was saying from his point of view because he didn't want me to exaggerate my symptoms. It was a lot.
So the reason why we know Sabrina is specifically talking about Gus in this video is due to some research done by Redditor Mac4112. I won't read everything to you to both save on time, and because Gus says he's guilty later in the video, but one part of the post I do want to highlight is when the person making this comment compares Sabrina's rhinoplasty video to Gus Johnson's Twitch stream. As in Sabrina's video, it shows the date it was recorded, and on that same date it just so happens that Gus Johnson was streaming. So let's compare what Sabrina was doing on September 5th at 3 a.m. to what Gus Johnson was doing on September 5th at 3 a.m.
To be honest, I'm quite miserable. I did that video earlier about like the Percocet, but I really have not felt okay since I've taken it. I'm starting to feel pain again. And Gus helped me fall asleep earlier because I was really struggling. And then he hopped back on to go stream. And he was just like, for the second you want me to come back, I'll come back, no questions asked. I'll be right back, don't worry. I was like, okay, that made me feel secure. And I texted him multiple times while he was streaming. Because I'm just not feeling okay. Look. I'm like, are you almost done? Question mark. Are you coming back soon? What's up? And he would just like say like, oh well, I have to do 10 more. Like, it's an obligation at this point. Can I just wait a little bit, please?
Boys, I'm excited. I've been waiting all day to come home and open some Pokemon cards with my boys. Thank you again for being on here. I know I'm not usually this late. I had to stay up for a little bit, just make sure that Sabrina's doing all right. She's doing fantastic, by the way. Just had a little medical procedure, and she's feeling fucking great. But, you know, she's on a couple of medications right now after the operation, so she's been documenting it on her own social media, too. Get more comprehensive info from her. Here's the Champion's Path. Gorgeous Charizard card art. Charizard card art. Oh my god, it's Charizard card art. Let's see what we have in the ETB.
So after all of this came out, Gus responded by making this tweet that says, I'm aware of a recent video that calls out some actions that I'm not proud of, and I want to apologize. The circumstances were extremely hard and complicated for both of us, but I can't even begin to imagine how difficult it was for her. We were young, and not remotely prepared to deal with all of the realities of a long-lasting and traumatic medical situation. During the talks, counseling, and therapy we went through together following this time, I came to grips with my behavior, and recognized my shortcomings, and I would like her to know just how deeply sorry I am. I fully realize what I did wrong, and wish I could now change how I responded and acted during that time. I've grown a great deal since that happened, and I wish I knew then what I know now. I will continue to grow and learn, and strive to be a better person every day. At this time, I'm stepping away from the podcast, and the remainder of this year's live shows will be cancelled, with full refunds being issued. I will also be taking some time off from posting and working for a while. Lena responds to Gus by saying, offer refunds for next year's shows as well, please. I want my money back. It's hard to believe you've changed given the rhinoplasty video, and I find it hard to believe you've truly come to grips with your behavior if this is the best response you could make. She then shows Sabrina's response that says, I am not accepting any apologies with lies in it. Sabrina also makes a tweet that says, I won't accept a misleading apology with lies in it. I don't forgive you. SSID responds to Gus by saying, the way you keep saying, we were young, and we went through therapy is a big red flag for me. It feels like you are redirecting some of the blame to Sabrina, when the issue being discussed is abuse and neglect on your part. Do better, Gus. We were all rooting for you. Paisley Pansy responds to her by saying, especially since he very recently pulled something similar, and opened Pokemon cards on stream instead of supporting her when she was in pain from having a rhinoplasty. SSID responds, right? What really gives me the creeps is when a viewer asks how Sabrina's doing, and Gus says, fantastic, knowing full well that she's hurting. Makes me wonder how much of his online persona is just toxic positivity. Ryan H. Hillard responds to Gus by saying, God damn it, why is it always people I like? Majestic Goat responds with this Twitter video.
Here, I'll give you guys one too to make sure I stay honest. Well, my career is over.
Oh, that's a really bad one.
That's how confident I am in myself.
Raz responds to Gus by saying, okay, you could say you've grown, but how are we supposed to believe you when you were lying about Sabrina's well-being in stream during her rhinoplasty recovery, and not answering her texts? Chad Thomas responds by saying, you don't have to believe him. You can feel free to not care about him or follow him. He doesn't owe you anything. Raz responds, I never said he owed me anything. All I was saying, it can't be much of a sincere apology if he says he's grown when there's proof that he hasn't as recent as 2 months ago. Mato the guy responds by saying, "Dog, he's making an effort, give him a break." I'll be honest, I wasn't there for most of his streams, but really on this tweet of all of them, Raz responds, "Well, he emotionally abused Sabrina. Then he said he changed despite the proof he didn't, so I don't think he deserves a break. Also, if there were any post to mention this on, it would be this one." Stop responds by saying, "It's not your business, and you don't know these people." Yoon Yan responds by saying, "A person almost died, and we shouldn't care?" Lena responds to Gus by saying, "This statement doesn't do any justice to the horrific things that happened to her, and if you truly recognize what you did wrong during that time, then we wouldn't have a video of you ignoring her when she needed you while recovering from a recent surgery. So disappointed." Alexis responds to Gus by saying, "We were young and not remotely prepared. Can mean not knowing what an ectopic pregnancy is, but is never an excuse for neglect and emotional abuse. Do better." Ellie tweets out, "This week's Gus Johnson revelations. Yikes." Tropical Jon Snow says, "Me seeing Gus Johnson and JonTron trending, and then finding out why." Left says, "Oh, I love Gus Johnson. Wonder why he's trending." Alyssa Miri says, "For the most part, Gus's fans are not blindly taking his side in this situation, which is strange to witness, because that's almost never the case when this stuff happens. It speaks to how good this community is, and also, unfortunately, how disappointed a lot of us are. Also, I just want to say that Sabrina's video is incredibly brave. I know that it must have been so hard to tell that story, and relive all of it. She's incredibly strong, and I hope she's doing good now. No one should ever have to go through that. This all just really sucks." Jess says, "You know what? I'm not done talking about the Gus Johnson thing. I'm tired of men getting to do the most atrocious things to women and then saying that they simply didn't know better. I don't care how old you are. You should have basic level of empathy towards your girlfriend. Women are not here to teach men how to behave. We were not put on this earth to further the progression of a man's character development. I'm tired of men not learning, continuously making the same mistakes. We need to hold our favorite content creators accountable for things they do. End of story. This isn't about canceling, it's about consequences." One of Gus's good friends, Eddie Burback, also makes a statement about this on his Twitter. He says, "Hey guys, apologies for being gone for the last few days. In all honesty, I've just been so hurt, confused, and sad. I watched Sabrina's video, and while I had heard altered bits of the story once or twice over the last few years, I had absolutely no idea of the extent of the trauma that she went through with her medical situation. We've talked a good deal since, and it's been so great to see her doing well now. I don't feel comfortable or that it's my place to speak on some details of their relationship, but what I can say is that I'm realizing I hadn't had an accurate grasp on what it was like between them privately until now. I just feel like I've been left in the dark, and finding all of this out is very difficult for me after years of friendship. I'm just very confused and hurt, and need some time to process things. I also realize a lot of you are going through this too, and I'm so sorry for that. For future work, I'd like to go back to working on my own stuff, and collaborating with my brother for now. Hopefully you guys will allow me to do that." Sabrina then responds to Eddie Burback's tweet with a heart emoji. And that's about it for the situation between Sabrina and Gus Johnson. Super horrible situation to hear about, and I wish Sabrina the best. But with all that being said, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, and follow me on Twitter to keep even more up to date on this drama. I'll also probably be talking a bit more about it on my Twitch channel, so you can follow me over there as well. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.